Hi, it's District 7 Councilmember Jason Lyon, and this is your Tuesday 2-minute-ish recap of the week's City Council meeting. On the consent agenda last night, the Council approved a little over $9 million in contracts for goods and services, including allocations of a couple of million in new County Measure A funding for services to the unhoused, and a $5 million appropriation to the senior housing project planned at 280 Ramona Street across the street from City Hall. Out of the Municipal Services Committee, of which I'm a member, we approved 3 items, but not without a lot of additional deliberation by the full council. First was approval of a new policy to make it easier for residents to request installation of street humps on their block by reducing the minimum number of car trips per day required, and also lowering the voting threshold to at least 50% of property owners on the street. Next, the council okayed changes to the rules for bikes, designating when they can and can't be ridden on sidewalks, setting a speed limit for sidewalk riding, and clarifying that bikes should always yield to pedestrians who continue to have the right of way. Pro tip, you still can't ride your bikes or scooters on the sidewalks on South Lake Avenue. Last from the committee was a much anticipated update to the city's rules for installing solar panels on private residences. Previously, the city capped each home's solar capacity to the average of the previous 5 years' usage, which didn't allow property owners to increase their power generation, even when they were adding additional needs like electric vehicles or appliances. That threshold has now been increased to 150% of the previous 5 years' usage, but residents can go over even that limit either by purchasing a battery to store excess energy or by demonstrating an actual existing need for additional power. On the main agenda, the Parks and Rec Department finally brought forward a plan for spurring development of the Hahamungna Watershed Park Annex area. The council approved the department's plans to issue a request for proposal from potential nonprofit partners to develop a public benefit use, like a nature education center, in the currently underutilized space. Next, the council had a hearty debate about whether to implement a freeze on so-called SB9 applications for properties designated a very high fire risk within the Eaton Fire boundaries. SB9 is the state law that allows the owner of any residential property in the state to split their lot in 2 and then to build 2 residential units on each of those lots for a total of 4 units where there used to be 1. There are more than 180 properties in the very high fire hazard zone, and building 4 homes on each would add more than 700 new homes in the zone, and likely well over 1,000 new residents. Some council members were concerned about the safety implications of adding that much density in a potential evacuation zone, while others noted that you can count on one hand the number of SB9 applications we've received in the city since the law was passed 3.5 years ago. So it's unlikely to make an appreciable difference in the density in the area. In the end, though, the council approved the planning department's recommendation to adopt an interim moratorium and revisit the issue in 45 days. And with that, the meeting adjourned at 10:15 p.m. We'll be back next Monday night. As always, if you have any questions, email me at jlyon@cityofpasadena.net.